Hello, everyone. Welcome to Prowess Goes Live. Oh, look, we have a visitor. My eldest, my son Buxley, the dog. So good to see all of you again. This is my first time back from maternity leave, and I mean, bittersweet because I missed my baby, but at the same time, I really missed you guys. I'm not gonna lie. So thank you for being here with us this week. On the heels of our masterclass last week, which was just fantastic, truly such good engagement, and I just really love the idea of spreading the word about becoming an online business manager because I absolutely know how needed it is. Like, even while I was on maternity leave, I was still getting texts and emails and Instagram messages from all of these different people being like, Ashley, I need an OBM. Where are they? And so it's really, really, really exciting to see all of that. So today we wanted to really talk about, you're fired up after the masterclass. How do you become a fully booked OBM and how to take action? Okay, so we're going to speak to two different groups of people here. First, all of the people who aren't OBMs yet and who just went through the masterclass. And then we're going to talk to all the different seasoned OBMs who we know who have been following us for a very long time. Now, you're going to learn something from both sections, but I share that because I want you to know that we're thinking about both sides. Okay, so for the masterclass goers, you showed up, you took notes, you felt that spark of like, oh my God, this is something I want to do, but maybe the timing isn't right. Or maybe you want to learn more, or maybe you're just not sure. So now what? That's what we're going to talk about today. And for the OBMs who are constantly learning and constantly leveling up, I want you to be thinking about what is the first next step to grow your business. And we're going to be talking more about that. What does it look like to step into the spotlight? What does it look like to have that visibility and that permission slip of stop guessing and start doing the actionable tips to get to where you want to be? Okay, with that intro, let's do an opener question. You know that I love those. An opener question. What did you want to be when you grew up? I know I ask this one a lot, but it's because I love it. What did you want to be when you grew up? Hi, Corey. Hi, Amy. Hi, Linda. Sarah, what's up? A doctor, an astronaut. I love these. And it, by both of you, this does not surprise me at all. They are very intricate, like, quite frankly, like, logical, scientific. I just love it. It makes so much sense that you're an OBM now. So much sense. I wanted to be a rock star. So the fact that I am doing this each week, where I am talking to all of you, is pretty, goes hand in hand. Can't sing at all. A meteorologist or an artist. Leah, that could not be more you. If I didn't know you better and didn't know that you were a Scorpio, I would think that you were a Gemini because really the two sides of Leah. I just absolutely love it. You are a cusper though. But anyway, not the point of today. We could talk about that um, all day, all day, all day. So thank you for being here. Love all the interaction. Keep that up. For all of you who are watching, this is your first time. I'm Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess Project. What Prowess Project does is we help people pivot in their careers to become online business managers. Think cross of a strategy of a COO and the hustle of a VA to help micro businesses, that has that visionary CEO who has all the ideas but needs that person to get shit done. That's what we help them do. And so today we are talking all about, if you took a masterclass, what next, right? So if you came on Thursday, you heard me on my soapbox about starting your business and the top three things that you needed. okay? And I'm going to review all of these. First, you gotta have a niche. You gotta have an offer, and you gotta put it out there. I'm gonna dive into those. So as a reminder, first thing, you got to have a niche. So what does a niche mean? Niche is a specialized segment of the market for a particular product or service. So really what that means is who are you serving, and get super, super, super specific with that, okay? I want you to think the smaller the audience that I can pinpoint and who I serve, the more specific the offering is or the solution that you're going to give them. And in your marketing and in your messaging and in order to sell them, you are going to be able to speak so, so, so directly to them. Um, and really speak to their problems, their solutions, and they're going to be thinking, how did this OBM get in my head? She absolutely can solve my problem. Versus if you go to someone to a much larger population, you're not going to be able to get that granular, and that trust isn't already going to be there. So the Prowess Project way is we ask you to niche down at least 3 times. Okay. So as an example, what does that mean? I want to support female entrepreneurs. Great. I want to support female entrepreneurs in the US. Great. I want to support female entrepreneurs who coach financial literacy and wealth creation. Much, much, much better. It is much more clear and much more pinpointed who you can go search for who needs your services. All right. Now, in OBMU, we go dive deep into this. But again, I just wanted to share how we're thinking about all of it. So you're probably like, okay, yeah, Ashley, that's great. I get it, the niche, like that's fine. But why does this really matter? Aside from just focusing like money in my pocket, why does that matter? Y'all, there are riches in niches. So in the book, $100 Million Offers, I love this section, but it goes through if you are offering, let's call it OBM services, right? If you are offering OBM services for everyone, maybe you're making $50 an hour. Okay. If you are then doing it for only coaches, maybe you're making $75 an hour because you're much more focused. If you're only doing coaches or doing financial literacy and you have a bunch of case studies and you have a proven method and you know exactly how to solve this problem because you've seen it 100 times, you easily could get 100, 150. So you can see how you're selling the same thing, but it's the expertise, the knowledge, all of the things that you can catapult yourself ahead, all of the tribal knowledge that you already know that you can already bring that really helps you make more money by delivering the same thing. All right. So that's really why niches are so, so, so important. And we talk about it all the time. Now, take it or leave it, of course. The next thing, we talk about the offer. What is it that you're selling? Now, what an offer is a specific proposal, a specific proposal to sell something very specific under specific conditions. Okay, so in OBMU, we have a 4-step equation that we go through to really deliver your offer. But why it's so important to have a niche is because it's going to tell you exactly what should be in your offer. Because you're going to know their exact problems, you're going to know how they want it to be. You're going to know the conditions that need to be true in order to have that offer that sells over and over and over again. Okay. So that's why having a very clear, easy, digestible offer is so important when you're going out there and selling your services. All right. And now the next thing my little soapbox. You can have your niche, you can have your offer, but if no one knows about it, you're going to see your bank account just dwindle, 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 dwindle. You gotta put it out there. Okay. And again, the reason why the niche is so, so, so important is how do you put it out there? You start talking to people. You start talking to anyone that will listen, asking for suggestions, ideas, introductions, recommendation, any type of help. And it's a lot easier for someone to help you if you have an exact ask of the exact type of person you want to meet. Right? It's a lot easier for someone to connect you with someone who is a female founder in the financial literacy space versus just someone who is really, really broad. Okay. And even if they don't know someone who is a founder in the financial literacy space, they will know someone who will know. So again, it's just so much easier to point you in the next direction. And then after you start talking to people, also put it out on social media, put it on LinkedIn, put it on Facebook, go to local communities, in person or online, doesn't matter. You have to let people know about your stuff. It is just critical. Okay. So, the three things to go do as I recapped everything from Thursday's masterclass. These three things, but there's a trap. There's a trap that I see so many people fall into. You are gung ho after that masterclass. You are gung ho after one of these Wednesday sessions. You know this is for you. You are getting excited. You feel that spark, and then you get stuck. You get stuck because you don't know the exact next thing to do. And I want to share that this happens to me all the time. So, this is not something that is just for newbies. And I want to share with something that really helps me when I feel this way. And that is having someone who I deeply, deeply, deeply respect pinpointed that I am going to be accountable to. When you are running your own business or you're starting this for yourself, there's no boss telling you what to go do. So it's really important that you have that person that you don't want to let down, that you say to this person, hey, I'm going to come back to you in 2 weeks and give you X, Y, and Z. And all of that is the three next steps that you need to be taking in order to get to your goal. But you're going to come tell them, hey, yes, I did this. Okay. But it's so important that this is someone that you respect. This is someone who is further along in their career of where you want to be. Okay. This can't just be someone that you're like, oh, well, they'll understand something came up. No, this is going to be your straight shooter who's going to say to you, hey, OBM Olivia, you said you were going to do this. Why aren't you going to do this? Now you need to work extra on making that happen. So I have someone in my life who I do that with. I met him through a coaching program that I made a pretty significant investment in. And I was feeling really stuck after maternity leave on just some things with prowess. And I thought back in my life, when did I feel most in alignment? And it is when I was working with him and he gave me the next few steps in order to continue to find that clarity. So I went back to him and said, "Hey, would you be open to meeting me with a couple more times?" And here we are. Okay? And I'm feeling better. I'm feeling much more clear. All right? So go take those first steps. Go talk to people. Go decide on your niche. All right. Actually, I want to hear in the comments what niches are people thinking right now. But as you're deciding on that niche, go talk to people. And in OBMU, we have scripts and exactly how to go do this, templates, the whole thing. And I will be adding more to it because I'm learning more and more and more as I go do this. So if you go and reach out to you, the probability of you finding clients is extremely, extremely high. So what niches are we thinking? What niches are we thinking? Farms, love it, Corey. Oh, I heard all about this. A little birdie told me what you're doing here and love it. Documentation, development, and creation. Amy, amazing, amazing, amazing. Typically, I like doing it where it's an industry. You don't have to, but I typically like doing where you're solving for an industry. However, someone who I deeply, deeply respect, Shannon Hernandez, who was on this a couple weeks ago, she does not believe in industry niching. She believes all about the offer. So again, don't take my word for it. Veterinarian or nonprofit. Hi, Mark. I love it. Desperately, desperately needed. I went to the veterinarian not too long ago, and I was actually sitting there thinking, like, wow, I think I could really help them with all of their operations and make this much more seamless and save them money. Went through my head. So I know, Mark, that you have plenty of people who need you, who need you. All right. Okay. Enough with me on my niching soapbox. I am going to hand this over to Miss Leah.
Hi there. Ashley, we're so glad to have you back. And I know that you guys all got a ton of value about the niching and focusing on those that already are OBMs. I know a lot of you were like, yep, this is that reiteration, just like Ashley was talking, that's still part of the process. Even if we are currently OBMs, we already have our clients, regrouping on that niche and our offer is so important on a consistent basis. And you've heard us talk a lot about being a CEO in your own business. So, what I want to talk about to those people that are OBMs, you're growing your business, is one, your accountability to yourself. Like Ashley mentioned, some of the ways that we can do that, and then having a consistent plan. And the third thing is still redressing or still addressing when we hit those blocks. So, first, accountability. This is where you need to be really clear on when you will be working on this plan, how often you are updating or tweaking it, right? You can make, say, every quarter, I'm going to come back and redefine this and even make it even more specific, like Ashley was talking about. This could be a monthly check-in that you have. In a lot, what the beauty of that is you are constantly getting data, right? As we OBMs, we constantly are bringing all that in. So make sure you are doing it for yourself, that you have your own dashboard, you could develop your own case study, and you're capturing those testimonials, right? So those are things that we can do to hold ourselves accountable, having that monthly meeting, taking a look at this data and deciding how do I need to change or shift anything, and then how we're going to incorporate that into our own lead generation plans. So are we updating our website? Are we adding a new case study as something they can download? Are we make sure we putting those testimonials out there? And now it's to have that plan. So if we know we're going to be accountable, now we're going to have a plan of how we are going to take action on a consistent basis. So again, as an OBM, you have some kind of network out there, you have some past customers. We want to constantly be taking a look at like three simple things to me. And that's all, it's basically coming down to always having a call to action when we're doing our own outreach. So if it is that once a month CEO meeting and we're sitting down, we're taking a look at where am I going to go network? What am I sending out to my audience? Maybe that's your newsletter or you are doing a LinkedIn post that is something that you're excited about in your business. And again, pull from what you already have. This isn't like you have to go create these new amazing things. Pull from an example of something that you did that you were really excited about that month. Your own tech tutorials of how like something that you solved or a new software you were using is so valuable to those potential clients who are still out there trying to Google their way out of the weeds of their operations. So use that as your content and also comment on other people's posts, but make sure you have the plan of how often am I going to do this? What am I doing? And what is my call to action? And those call to actions can be get on the phone with me, right? You can ask for the meeting. If it is maybe you're networking with people, you can be asking for those referrals if they're past clients or people that you're meeting. If they know of anyone they want to refer you to, ask for those referrals. It doesn't all have to feel like a hard sell. Again, if you are really tied to this service you are providing and wanting to serve these clients, these are offers and invitations to connect with people. And then lastly, have your strategy to follow up. So if it's a networking, if it's the people that click through on an email, if it is people that you did have a phone call with, have your strategy to follow up, right? We all have our task list. Put it in there, schedule it out, and make sure that you're going to complete that loop for those people. And then the other thing I want to talk about is, because I think this is a lot of this, we can sit down, we can create this plan. We know what we need to do. We can make the promise to hold ourselves accountable and have those meetings on our calendar. But then it comes to that block when we feel stuck, right? And Ashley mentioned it. Like we can just sort of hit that wall of I have no idea who I'm going to go talk to. So this is where we talk a lot about the TFAR. We've talked about that, those thoughts, feelings, action, results. When we hit that point that maybe it's a negative belief, right? To work through that and reverse it, reframe it, and say, how, if I did take action, what is that going to look like? So that's one simple way that you can go through it if you are hitting that block of, I don't know who to talk to, or my niche doesn't feel like it's working, or I don't have any, I don't know how to ask for referral. Sit down and spend that time with it. Another thing that I heard recently that I really liked was just thinking about this instead of thinking about all the things that we can't do or this feels uncomfortable, I don't know how to do it. It's finding the inspiration in it and taking inspired action. And this to me really helped me when I thought about it because any time that something comes up like that of I don't know who to go ask for referrals or I don't know how to spread, like if I really want to stay like I like to do word of mouth, I like networking in person maybe, but I don't know how to go about that. What is one thing that would inspire me to take action? So is it that I really need to love this networking group and the people that are going to be in the room? And then I know that I'm not going to stop talking about who I want to help. Is it that I actually really do love writing? And then I can go and take that and post it on LinkedIn and be diligent about following up with anyone who connected with me there. Take some kind of inspired action in your business. And that's where that energy can come from to start making that shift. And again, if you really are, if word of mouth is your thing, I want you guys to think of that as a strategy, not an excuse not to be on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever you're posting, right? If you really want to be committed to that, it still can look like the newsletter that you're sending out. It can be showing up at those networking meetings, or or you can do both. It can be what you're posting and commenting and doing it in social media. But if we get hung up, if we have those blocks or it doesn't feel in alignment, go back and do the TFAR or go back and figure out where I'm going to take inspired action. Put these things on your calendar. Treat all of this as you were the own CEO of your business and take action. The next thing I wanted to touch on, because all of this can feel like, yes, I'm going to go do this. All of these things are tasks and work that we have to do, right? But what I want to help all of you look at, because all of us as OBMs, we're machines sometimes. So we're always constantly coming up with a new idea and putting into action, or we're working in someone else's business and we care so deeply about that success, is that we want to make sure we don't burn out. So ways that we can do that again is going back to what excites you in your business. When you take the time, and for me, this is just simply going and finding the creativity part of my business. So I can get real busy in spreadsheets. I love all of that. Recently I've been really into taking AI and helping automate a lot of processes. And it can just like, sometimes it just starts to feel like, yep, and I got that done. And then I got that done. And that is updated. But I always try and have one thing that feels like my creative time in my business so that we can make sure that we are getting that energy back of seeing our own results and getting excited about it. That then becomes your case study. That then becomes what you're posting on LinkedIn. That becomes what you share at that next networking event, is these things that we feel we're still really excited about. And even though creativity in my life, yes, is often an Airtable base or some kind of automation, that's okay. However it looks in your business, again, the more specific you get with that niche and apply these solutions, you have that ideal solution for your client. And now you have an example of exactly why it could work for them. So we want to make sure that we're leveraging all of that success in those case studies, posting our wins. That's a big one. Natalie talks about how she has a thankful Thursday. And I think posting that gratitude or successes, it can even be bragging on your clients. Like that's a great way to just show up as that professional and help. We're continuing to help. It doesn't always have to feel salesy. And then lastly, having a newsletter that feels authentic to you, really in your voice. And as Ashley mentioned, Shannon talked about that recently, of when we're really, really close to our authentic voice, how easier it flows. So having that opportunity to, however it looks in your business, but show up out there, put your wins out there, and continue to find that part of your business that you love and share so that energy keeps coming back to you. And then lastly, and Natalie is really great at this all the time too, is make this easy on yourself. Again, schedule an afternoon, batch, create your automation to have all of this scheduled. This can be a time that you block on your calendar and you go and treat yourself at the coffee shop. Maybe it's quiet there, maybe that's your favorite coffee, and you go and do this time then and get all of this done once. If it's this is a struggle for you to really focus on it, do it once a month. If you love doing this kind of stuff in your business, do it once a week. But take that time out to make sure that you're doing all this for yourself and hold it sacred on your calendar. Like, this is not a time that you move for a client. This is not a time that you say, fine, I'll just, you know, scratch this with the family stuff. Make sure this is time that you can really hold sacred on your calendar because it's so important in your business. Again, defining that niche, defining that offer. How am I putting it out there? Holding yourself accountability and showing up. These things have to happen for you to be successful. And then lastly, I am a big believer on when you get it done, when it's all you've done those tasks around that, reward yourself in some way. Make that part of your process. How are you going to make sure like this all feels really good because that's how I'm rewarding myself at the end? Thoughts, Ashley?
Yeah, I loved that. Oh my God. I mean, so many. The rewarding yourself at the end. And I was even thinking like we aren't as good as we could be about posting our own wins. Like that is such a good point. We should. We have a ton. We list them and our L10 team meetings every Monday. So we should like just take that list and put it out there. Um Man, that's such a good one. Such a good one. I also really love the idea of taking inspired action. I feel like that is a buzz phrase, but you actually explained what that meant in a practical way versus just like, oh, you like something, go do it. You're like, oh, no, no, no. When you get stuck, that's when you focus back on what it is that gets you out of bed or your zone of genius and that gets you moving again. I never thought about it like that.
To me, it's the same concept as like the next right step or the first thing that you should be doing to move forward is it just boiling it down to as OBMs, right? We're problem solvers. So what's that one thing and that what's that one thing that's holding us back and when you can find what's actually going to inspire you to solve the problem, your why, well then it becomes like, well, I have to do it. So I listening to a podcast and that came up and I was like, that makes so much sense. And in my automation brain, right, like I feel like I could map it on a spreadsheet and now I know what to go do.
I love that. I love that your creative time was building out automations. Definitely not
Sadly,
mine.
it really is. It really is.
So good. Well, I want to know, does anyone have any questions here? What feels good? What feels scary? What feels like, hey, I know I need to be doing this, but I'm not? Um, I'll definitely share one. I do not hold my CEO days and times sacred. I know I need to. I share this a lot. I have a favorite coffee spot because of the window is awesome, and it's Opa if you're in Austin. Just love that place. Um, it feels fantastic in there. And so, but I try and do that every Friday morning, but oftentimes it comes up or something comes up and I need to get back to it. I need to hold true to it.
And actually, I would say for me, it's what you just mentioned earlier. It's the bragging on yourself. I don't know how many times, especially when I was first getting started, and someone was like, "What are you doing these days?" Like you run into someone you haven't seen, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm busy with the kids." When it wasn't true, I had this whole other business that I was loving, but I didn't feel like that's like it just didn't come out of my mouth. But when I started saying, I've really gotten into first it was websites, right? I was like, I'm really getting excited about helping people with their websites. That's when but like once I could just put that out there, along with, yes, I love talking about my kids, my family. I do, that
Sure.
is a big part of my life. But I'm like, I do need to speak up for myself and share the whole part of me, not just the part that I think fits into this scenario, right? Just because I'm at the birthday party. But once I started talking about my whole self, what I loved was then that other person started doing it too. And the ideas go back and forth. So you never know who it is who also has an idea or their business or their maybe they're helping a family member that can use what you love doing all of the time.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. Like, sure, the ideas go back and forth, but it's also oh, you do websites? My aunt needs a website. She's a da, 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 da,
Mhm.
da, da. Let me connect y'all. People love helping. They really, really do. As much as we feel like it's a burden, oftentimes it's quite the opposite. So most people love feeling like connectors, especially the visionary types that many of you are going after. The visionary types love their network. They are hard believers in your network equals your net worth. So the more connections that they can make, the better. The more, and here's the other thing. I mentioned this briefly, but I know that OBMs oftentimes don't love conversations, don't love getting on the phone, don't love talking to someone that they don't know, but visionaries do. So it's not like you are asking someone to do something they don't want to do. You are asking them to do something that they naturally do all day long. And it's you who doesn't feel uncomfortable, not them. And if they say no, who cares? Move to the next one. Because your visionaries are also salespeople at the end of the day. So they know how many no's it takes to get to a yes. So they're not afraid of saying no, and they're not going to look down on you, and you shouldn't either, because it's all part of it.
I think that's so important is that when we share what we're doing and just ask that, like, so if you ever know of anyone who's looking for this, that CEO mindset or that visionary, you're right. They don't pick up on it. It's just like, yep, let me think about that. And the other side of it too, though, is how many people you meet that become people that you refer, right? So if
Oh, yeah.
you're talking to someone who has a bookkeeping business, you're probably going to have clients who needs that. So
Yes.
again, it's just it's okay if you're talking about business, first of all, like we should. That's what we should be doing. You're not bragging on yourself or you're not burdening anyone by talking about your business. And I don't, the majority of the time, I would say 95% of the time, that person wants to help. They want to pass it on. They want to make connection because they feel, like you said, they feel that value in that.
Without a doubt. And I love, Anna, I love this. I don't I don't love talking except when someone asks a question, and visionaries love to ask questions. It is truly one of my very favorite things to do is to, and this is so overused, so don't use it when you're asking people to talk. Pick my brain, like pick your brain. I love doing that. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And so they are most likely going to do that to you because they're trying to figure out too, how can we work together? How can we help each other?
Well,
So,
I think, actually, tell me if you think this is true, but right now, one of the easiest conversations to have is, what is an OBN? I've never heard of that. Like most people have not heard of the term. So if you're sharing like, oh, I'm an online business manager, they might be like, tell me more. I don't know what that is. And then you're in a conversation. So it doesn't have to be like that, this big dissertation or hypothesis. Like it can be very simple.
and here's another thing. If you say, "Hey, I'm a OBM online business manager or whatever," and you start to feel like you're losing them, ask them, "Do you know what that is? Have you heard of that before?" And they're going to say no or yes or whatever. And that opens up the opportunity for you to start educating on what it is, what's in it for them that you do.
Oh, great point.
So can
But
always bait the
all comes down to
conversation.
and putting it out there, right? Like you
So
just,
put it
yes.
out there. Awesome, y'all. Well, this was a wonderful first live show back. We always want to know what type of topics that y'all want to hear. So please shoot us an email, message us in Instagram, what have you. So just to recap today, whether you are starting out or you are scaling up, the niche is so, so, so important because it really informs the rest of your strategy of how to go and serve clients. Obviously, your offer, you want to make sure that it matches up with exactly who it is that you are focused on. and put it out there. We just said that so much. And then Leah really did a fantastic job helping you get clear on what to go do next and then what to go do when you're feeling stuck. So, if this is exciting for you and you think that maybe being uh, an ops whiz, the tech master, all of these things that make up an online business manager, if you think that this is for you or could be for you, get on a call with us. It's commitment free, 15 minutes. Leah, if you don't mind putting that link into the chat. Yeah, let's just hear. This also helps us too with feedback to understand what y'all want more of and how we can best serve this audience. So thank you, everyone. Do us a favor and share this with other people who you think that it may help, so that Prowess Project can grow. The more that the role in term OBM can grow, the more it will help all of you in this journey that you're on. Thank you, everyone. Bye.